I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, November the 18th, brought to you in part by Norfenicol by Norbrook. Watch this short video. This is Corbett Wall with the feeder flash, sitting here with Dr. Eric Moore, who is the Director of Tech Services North America for Norbrook.
Yes, sir.
Doctor, can you tell us a little bit about how we can use Norbrook products as we start treating our cattle?
Well, right now and always you're going to be facing pneumonia in cattle, and so BRD is a big thing out there. Corbett, as you know, it costs a lot of people money. We manufacture products that are good for treatment in that space, and so when you're looking at treating those cattle, you want to find them early, treat them early, and use the right tool. And so one tool that we have, Norfenicol, which is a generic Nufor, is, as you talked about it before on there, is a fluorphenicol, fast-acting antibiotic for treatment of pneumonia and foot rot.
Okay. It seems important to get them quick. And so, I've always, in my experience, thought if you think a calf needs a shot, he probably needed one yesterday.
That's right.
So you got to have a quick response, right?
They hide disease well, otherwise they get eaten in the wild, right? I mean,
exactly.
So you got to have something that works quick too, because if we're finding them, when you find them, like you said, they're already a day behind. So something gets in the bloodstream above active levels in 30 minutes, like Norfenicol does, gets to where it needs to be to treat disease, treat those bacteria in the lung that cause disease, is essential to have in your toolbox.
What's some of the other new things that Norbrook has in their products that make them better than what we've seen with Pioneer products in the past?
So we always look for ways to innovate with our products. And one thing we do is we look at packaging, so we get larger bottles, easy, more economical packaging.
Sure.
And we'll go in plastic. How many times have you dropped something?
Oh, I've gotten whippings for that before.
And you have Norfenicol in plastic. You drop it, it'll bounce right up. You can keep using it. Other ones, it breaks, you're done. You lose everything. So plastic bottles is one we've added. We make it easier on your arms with Norfenicol. It's more syringeable, less viscous, so it gets that cold weather you have.
Yeah, so trying to squeeze that stuff down, because we're not muscle people, but also normally when you drop stuff or have a hard time, or it takes you time to go back and forth to your vet table, you don't have to reach over and pull it up anymore, right?
No, we got hanger bottles. You just hang it around the chute. You can pull directly out of it. There's another thing you have in there. We have a shorter withdrawal than the Pioneer Nufor. We're 33 days when it's given sub-Q. Meat withdrawal, so you have another 5 days of not getting the residue on those cattle if you're up close to butcher them. So I mean, there's a lot of advantage that we try and work into those products as we bring a new generic product to market.
Sounds like a great option. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Cattle trade groups unite. Well, not really, but a little bit. They have all got together and decided that they are going to try to get the Department of Agriculture to halt imports of Brazilian beef. That's kind of a no-brainer, but I've learned that you can kind of play with those titles of these reports and get more views by doing that. But we still got a lot of differences in our cattle trade groups, but that was kind of an easy one. But the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act that I've been talking about, the compromise bill between the 5014 and the Cattle Market Transparency Act, officially got introduced on Wednesday. Had a lot more people sign on to it. So the senators that are officially on the bill as it was introduced is, of course, Fisher and Grassley and Tester and Wyden, but then Ernst, Braun, Smith, Hyde Smith, and Cassidy. So there's a lot of support for that. It's bipartisan. It's a good deal. It's all we're ever going to get, so we might as well get behind it and do it. And likely the NCBA could get behind it now that they've decided on Tuesday that they've tripped enough triggers where they're going to have to get behind something, because that's what they said they were going to do. So they'll have to vote for it at the next convention, which is in February in Houston, and likely we may be able to already get it pushed through by then. But there's going to be support for that bill, and if people don't fight it, I mean, that's stupid, because the lawmakers are saying, tell us what you want. We told them what we want. They tried, and then now they're showing us what they can get. If we don't take it, they're likely just to say, forget about you guys. But We want to talk about the things that U.S. Cattlemen's Association has come together, and they were the last ones to officially say that they wanted to get rid of the Brazilian imports, and they came out with and that wasn't that they were holding back, they just hadn't put out a statement yet, but they come out with a press release on Wednesday and said that they indeed too had a letter there that they indeed too want to halt the Brazilian imports because of the BSE cases in humans. And then it hasn't been that long ago since they had some cases in some older bovines. But included in that letter was a statement by my friend Larry Kindig, who is a trade committee chair there. And this is a quote by Larry Kindig from Osborne, Kansas. He said, "The same concerns which prompted U.S. Cattlemen's Association to call for a halt to Brazilian imports in 2017 remain today. Put simply, Brazil is a bad actor in the global marketplace. The country has a history of corruption at the highest levels, and we are gambling with the health of the domestic cattle herd each time we accept shipments of beef from Brazil." Now that's a pretty good statement there, and I think most everyone can agree with that. And so with all the trade associations getting together saying we need to get rid of these imports of Brazilian beef, surely the Department of Agriculture will do something about that. Well, let's talk about the board. On Wednesday, December live cattle futures were up 50 cents at 132.22, and we saw some trade at 132, so they need to get in there about par with that. February up 30 cents at 136.40. Back months your live cattle steady to 57 cents higher. November feeder cattle, now this time we saw the spot market November higher as it's jostling in there with your real-time index, and they saw higher quotes in your auctions on Wednesday, your high volume sales, so they added to it a little bit. November was up 42 cents at 156.07. January was down 35 cents, 158.97, but all your back months from there were higher, from 17 cents to 40 cents higher. Corn didn't do a whole lot, but Kansas City wheat is like a yo-yo, and and it's not a growing crop right now. We've got it all harvested up by now, but it was up 13 cents or more on Wednesday's session on Chicago Board of Trade. It's just crazy with your Kansas City hard red winter wheat and what all's going on with that. Your fat cattle trade, we had a little bit more trade on Wednesday, but we haven't seen the bulk of trades. Your packers just don't want to give it, but they've already tipped their hand how short bought they are, and they need cattle. So they were out trying to buy cattle at basically steady money with last week on Wednesday. Your Southern Plains was letting them buy a few of their plainer deals, some cattle that are going to grade as much select as they are choice, or maybe even more. And not a whole lot of trade at all in the Northern Plains. They're wanting to buy the better cattle in the Northern Plains and then haul them south so that they can build up their choice supplies in the south. But the North's not apt to do that. They sold some odd lots to them, but that's about all there is. But likely when we get the full brunt of the trade, which is either going to happen today on Thursday or Friday, they're going to have to give more money. Iowa had about 700 head confirmed on Wednesday, only about 3,300 head for the week, and your live sales on Wednesday were 131 to 132. Nebraska about 1,200 head, only 1,500 for the week. Now we had like 40,000 out of there last week, so they're going to have to ante up if they want some of those good cattle to have in Nebraska. Live sales on the few that they sold on Wednesday, 131, 132, and some dress trade at 207. Those are about steady. Kansas, 1,100 head, only 1,500 head for the week, all at 132 on Wednesday. Texas, only 700 head and only 900 head for the week at 132. And we're getting a little bit of competition in Colorado. We're getting more players in there. They've only sold a few loads of cattle, but they got printed, which they don't normally get printed because of the confidentiality rules, but 132 in Colorado. Box beef cutout values were down pretty hard. And it could be just because we're in this Thanksgiving lull right now. People traditionally eat turkey and ham and things like that at Thanksgiving, and all the specials at the retail level are going to be for those kinds of products. And your retailers are just not excited about paying the still inflated levels for the beef. And they're punishing these packers a little bit for the gouging that they did to them through the pandemic, and you can't blame them there. I mean, it's kind of like us selling our fat cattle. We want to pour it and twist it in as far as we can to these packers when they have the opportunity to do it. And the guys that are on the buying end of their beef products are likely doing the same thing. But on Wednesday afternoon, choice cuts 278.47 down 366. Select 264.06 down 253. Slaughter's running at about the same pace, right about par where we need to be. 365,000 through Wednesday. That's steady with the same level last week, and 8,000 more than the same week a year ago. I want to talk about what else is going on. Nevada Livestock Marketing, that's out in Fallon, Nevada. That's where I go out and help sell those cattle, and they're going to have a big sale on Friday. It's their monthly feeder cattle special, and they're got about 7,000 head. Now these will be hard desert cattle. You can get on to dvauction.com, view and bid that sale, and get some really hard calves out of there. Going to have some yearling deals in that deal too. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market and your sales on Wednesday. Your real-time index on DV Auction late in the day on Wednesday at 154.71. That was up 65 cents. And I told you earlier your high volume sales on Wednesday were higher, and that includes those. CME Cash Feeder Cattle Index is running a little bit ahead of that as they sort some of those lower selling cattle out of the report with the high receipts that we're seeing right now, and keeping it elevated a little bit. But 155.43 on your CME Cash Feeder Cattle Index, and that's closer to what your November Feeder Cattle Board is. Talk about your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, about 7,900 head for the 2-day sale, which is a whole lot less than the same time a year ago, which they had 11,800 head. And I'm not sure if we sold cattle early or you know, it's sure not too wet to get around there. I know that, but or maybe the way it falls with Thanksgiving, I'm not sure. But just selling a lot fewer cattle this week of the year than we did the same week a year ago. But feeder steers $2 to $4 higher. Feeder heifers $3 to $6 higher. Calves were steady to $3 higher, with the Pee-wee steers weighing under 500 pounds fully $10 higher in El Reno. The stick-out deal they had on the Wednesday sale was 201 head of 799-pound feeder steers, right at the 800-pound quote that we have for the index, sold at 164. You know, and that's $8 or $9 higher than what our index levels are, and that's in a high volume sale. Talk about some high quotes around the region and all points. How about Stockman's Livestock, Yankton, South Dakota? We always talk about their fat cattle sale, not always about their feeder cattle auction. But on Wednesday in Yankton, South Dakota, they sold 330 head of 895-pound yearling feeder steers for $159.25. I told you on our last visit that Bloomfield, Iowa was going to have a bunch of true yearlings in there, about 20 loads, and man, did they sell those. Look at these loads of 800 to 900-pound feeder steers that they had in Bloomfield, Iowa. They sell from $158.85 to $171.75. Another place they had a really good calf sale, and after that big special that they had a week ago with the auctioneer contest, you wouldn't thought they'd had any cattle left to sell, but Cherokee Sales Company in Cherokee, Oklahoma had a heck of a calf sale on Wednesday. Sold 90 head, 488-pound steers, getting pretty close to 500 pounds at 196 in western Oklahoma. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday, and your Zach Tran top quote for the day, come out of a smaller special sale they had at Bassett Livestock in Bassett, Nebraska. 56 head, 910-pound feeder steers at 165.50. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.